we have got e-commerce best practices with Mr. Mike Ober from Yahoo Small Business. And if you've ever seen this man speak before, you know that the next hour you're going to get a couple of giggles and some really, really, really great education. All right, so welcome to the New Life event. My name is Shauna Siegel. I'm your host. I'm the CEO of One Choice for Your Store. I'm the host of Ecom Experts on Webmaster Radio. I love education, and if you want to learn about me, just go check out my bio because we're here for the New Life event. So a special thank you to our speakers, because without our speakers, we would not have a New Life event. A special thank you to our audience. You guys are the sponsors. It's your job to go out there and spread the word. So we need you out there Twittering and telling your friends, and we have some great prizes throughout the entire weekend. And if you don't know about this yet, we have 3 grand prizes that are super duper sweet. I mean, these are the best prizes I could possibly imagine, and I'm so excited about it. So if you want to learn more about how to win these prizes and what you got to do, then go to twitter-winner.com. It will give you all the information you need. I wish that we could include Facebook with this, but Facebook has all kinds of funny rules and all this other stuff, so we got to do this with Twitter. And if you don't have a Twitter account, I have put a link in there to get yourself all set up with Twitter. It's a Twitter for Business kit, and you can download that for free. We want to get you on Twitter because we're going to teach you this weekend how to market your business with Twitter. So now it's time to set up that Twitter account. So go there. You're going to get the information on how you win, what you do. We've got a great chat room set up. You can go to tweetchat.com/room/NLE. If you go to twitter-winner.com, you will get all the information how to set that up as well. Great information. So upcoming schedule is amazing, so make sure you don't go anywhere. And if you have questions, well, Twitter with us. You know, you can Twitter New Life event, or there's a questions box on the right-hand side of your screen. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and pass the screen to Mr. Mike Ober. And Mike, if you could you tell the people a little bit about yourselves and how and why we should just absolutely love you? Because I know I do, but, you know, why should everybody else?
Well, thank you very, very much, Shauna. First of all, thanks very much for pulling this together for everybody. This is quite the undertaking for you, I know, and for the entire team over there. And you know, people should feel really privileged to have this opportunity and get some exposure from your own comfortable seat or easy chair to an amazing set of content that'll be happening throughout the weekend. So congratulations for pulling this off, and I think on behalf of everybody, I would say thank you. Thank you very much.
Aw, thank you.
Hopefully folks can see my screen okay. As Shauna said, my name is Mike Ober. I'm Manager of Merchant Development here at Yahoo. And what that means is that I have a team of people who are responsible for conveying best practices and ensuring maximizing the use of the platform, the Yahoo Store and Yahoo Merchant Solutions. And we do that through consulting with merchants in, like I said, best practices, whether it be through different types of usability or different configurations in terms of checkout flows or navigation buttons, whatever that may be, to help those merchants increase sales. I've been here approaching almost 8 years now, actually, in this space, and it's quite an exciting time, I think, to say the least. So without further ado, let's kind of dive into this. We're going to be talking today about best practices and as well as tips to e-commerce success. And whether you're on the Yahoo platform today thinking about it for tomorrow, hopefully you are, or using something different, you should be able to get some information out of this that will help you grow your business. I think one of the most important things to think about, if we can get things clicked over here, is you guys are taking the time. Everybody who's attending this webinar today, I see there's quite a few on board here already, are taking the time out of your day and before your weekend to think about how you can grow your business and take it to the next level. It's important that you shut everything off, shut off the emails, shut off the multiple windows. Take this time and opportunity to simply focus on what you can learn and take away. Try not to think about these ideas in terms of how your site may or may not be using them today, but rather take down a big list of notes so that you can come with a fresh perspective when you go and open up your website either Monday morning, later on this weekend, whatever it may be, so that you can take these tips and actually implement them. It's more of an objective view. So kind of clear that mind, get a nice objective view of your site or business, and I think that's the way you're going to be able to get kind of maximum response out of this entire weekend of content. And hopefully we'll be able to get everybody walking away from this today, in this session specifically, with at least one tip, whether you're a novice or whether you've been in the business for many years and you're fairly experienced. Take at least 1 or 2 tips out of this content for the next hour and implement those to your site. Most importantly, I'd love to hear those success stories. So I showed my contact information here at the starting slide, and we'll do so again at the end. If you do have some success stories that you'd like to share with me in regards to how you've implemented some of these tips and tricks into your site and seen success, I would love to hear that and possibly share that in future webinars as well. A couple things to think about as we get started. First and foremost, I want you to think about what your conversion rate is today. And what I mean by this conversion rate is this is the conversion rate of unique visitors to sales. Conversion rates anywhere in the neighborhood of 1.5% to 3% are average, and I'm going to show you a little bit more detail about that by category and by GMV or gross merchandise value segments that should help you benchmark in terms of what that conversion rate is. If you don't know that conversion rate right now, try to find it very quickly, and I'm going to show you those benchmarks here in just a couple minutes. Second is, what can I do to grow my business? Of course, that's why everyone's here today. So I mentioned the benchmarks for conversion rates. The chart that you see here in front of you is something that I share in presentations. We shared it for the first time at the Yahoo Merchant Summit, which, by the way, will be taking place in August this year out in Santa Clara, California. So set those dates aside and keep an eye on ystoreblog.com for more information around those dates. But this was something first shared at the summit last year, and sharing it right now for the second time. These are benchmarks of conversion rates by product category down the left-hand side and by 2 GMV segments on the right-hand side. First one being $1 million plus and the second one being $500,000 to $1 million. Now, while you may or may not fit into those categories, these are good benchmarks to aim for. And you can see a lot of differences as you go down this list of how those merchants doing 500K to $1 million have room for growth and room for improvement against the larger merchants. So this is a really good opportunity to find your category, take a look at those benchmark conversion rates, and at least give yourself a foundation or baseline to work off of and move towards. If you're doing better than these rates already, congratulations. It's a big step in the right direction. Hopefully there are other areas of the site that we'll be able to bring you to today to help you grow that even further. This is always an interesting conversation. You know, in small business especially, a lot of merchants really look at the website as their baby. And I'm going to say it straight up, there's a lot of ugly babies out there. That's the bottom line. I've looked at sites that are frankly stunning, not in a good way, that are doing an incredible amount of business. And it's always interesting to dive into those sites and try to understand why that's happening, and then put some lipstick on it, and clean up that site, and see the improvements that things like that, the small improvements can be made over time. What this graph shows you here is a percentage of shoppers that base their opinion of a website on overall design alone. 42% of shoppers landing on your site are basing their opinions on overall design alone. On the right side, this is the percentage of shoppers that did not return to those sites because of overall aesthetics, and that's 52%. Don't come back because they don't like the way your website looks. This is a study that comes off of Kissmetrics, and if you take a read of this paragraph, for retailers, shopping is the art of persuasion. Though there are many factors that influence how and what consumers buy, however, a great deal is decided by visual cues, the strongest and most persuasive being color. Think about that in terms of what your site looks like today. First impressions count, right? There's no better folks than potentially during the holidays, you know, grab your family and say, hey, give me an objective view of your site. You may want to do it after dinner so it doesn't make the dinner awkward, but ask people what they feel about your site when they go there. Do they feel it's pretty? Do they think things could be changed? And take notes on that and act upon that. You can always go and extend surveys into your consumers who are shopping on site and ask them what you could do better. But the bigger issues and bigger feedback is going to come from those that are not returning for one reason or another. And that's really what you want to look at. So again, thinking back to the comments at the opening of the session, if you step back out of the day-to-day of your business, look at the site objectively. Does your site give the appropriate visual cues to consumers and therefore gain their trust and have them continue their shopping experience? So along the lines of clean up your baby, here's a merchant that we work with very closely here, cyberweld.com. Now at store.cyberweld.com is the latest design. This is in the process, final stages of being launched, and there's a little bit of shake-up going on between the two domains. So if you can see this at store.cyberweld.com, on the left-hand side here you see this is an old design. This is a design that's been around for a while, hasn't been touched in quite a long time. But look at what just a little bit of cleanup does. The elements, the branding, and so forth haven't changed all that much. But if you look across the top of the page, there's a lot there that has changed. Those are things that consumers are looking for on a regular basis when they're browsing a site. And those are really anchor points across the top. Very, very important to have that readily available. A lot of that has been moved off the bottom of the site, as you can see on the left-hand side for comparison purposes. Overall, still a very clean site. What really had to be thought of here is the demographic that CyberWeld is appealing to. And in this instance, they still wanted to maintain a very clean, very easy-to-use site. They accomplished that on the right-hand side. And if we take a look at some of the metrics that resulted in just this change, what we're seeing is a 65% lift in page views. Now, at the same time, after this design was launched, they also launched shopping feed programs to get a better, more consistent feed of their products into the engines out there. So while that definitely contributed to the increase in page views that we see, at the end of the day, the site also had a major contribution. The site look and feel had a major contribution to those page views. In fact, we were just looking at some of these metrics today, and what's interesting in this scenario is that the time on site stayed relatively flat, but the page views increased, which means in one interpretation of that consumers landing on the site, shoppers landing on the site, can very easily get through, find what they're looking for, and continue with the checkout while increasing that average order value. So more products into cart, et cetera, and a very good job done here. So 65% increase in page views from that simple change in the look and feel. Bounce rate decreased by 25%. Again, cleaning up the lookout, the look and the layout of the site. Significant change in that bounce rate. It's that first impression. People are more willing to stay in this instance. And then finally, sales are up 44% just from that type of a change in look and feel. True numbers, true metrics, and a true reflection of what a simple facelift can do to a business. As Maria said to me here today, who's the account manager that works with CyberWeld, she says, well, you can also add that life is up 200% because things are pretty good for this business right now. Another one that happens very often when I look at sites is the coupon trap. The first thing that consumers do is when they get to the coupon area, and I'll expand this in just a second, if you don't have a coupon in hand as a consumer, what do? You go shopping for it. You go searching for it. The risk of that consumer not returning to your site increases significantly. So if you do have offers and coupons are in use, then it makes sense to use a view all coupons or view offers link. What that does is provides a little bit more stickiness in that checkout process and experience and avoids losing that consumer to the hunt. Now, that being said, if you do not offer coupons, you do not have promotional offers, then this box needs to be removed from your checkout experience altogether. Chances are your conversion rate is going to go up because you are losing consumers to the hunt today. You have no coupons out there, yet you're still showing the box in the checkout experience. So a very simple change in the checkout process of adding a view all coupons link, and in this case GreekGear.com does a great job of adding a view all coupons link and at least throwing a bone to the person who's going to go out of their way to click on that link to find a coupon offer. They're at least getting 5% off the order simply by typing in search into this box. What that's saying is the campaign of trying to save consumers in the checkout, not losing those consumers to the search, is going to return the revenue that's shown in the campaign screen under that coupon code. So I think that's a great way to help save consumers and keep them away from the hunt. With our Yahoo Small Business Partner Network, of which Shauna and the One Choice team are certainly a part of, this can be implemented if you don't want to try to do it yourself. Shauna has done a great job with creating a whole lot of videos that are up on YouTube. One of those videos being how to create the See Current Offers link. And you can find that with a link in the bottom of the screen. It's a shortcut I created for you. store.yahoo.com/seecurrentoffers.html. If you're on the Yahoo Store platform, very simply go up to that link, follow the instructions, and you can have yours up and running tomorrow. This is an incredible story, and what this does is shows you the power of missed opportunity. How many folks actually use the boxes that they have today to drop offers into that box when they go out the door? I'd be willing to bet that more than 50% of the people on this call are not doing this type of promotion today. Yet it's a free vehicle, it's very simple to do, and you've got a captive audience in somebody who's already bought from your site. So why not throw them a bone? In this case, what GridConnect did is printed up a year's worth of these little postcards, saving 10% off of the next order. Now, of course, this offer can be anything you want, whether it's 10% off within the next 30 days, within the next 90 days. You can decide, especially within the Yahoo Store platform, in the coupons and the rules that are created, what offer you provide to these shoppers. And what they do is simply take an Avery label and slap it over the single-use coupon here box. That is a unique single-use coupon code attributed to the Box Stuffer campaign, which is trackable. What these guys saw for results simply by dropping that postcard into the box is pretty amazing. They invested $1,000, and I sort of feel like Billy Mays here, $1,000 invested, and if I could tell you that you're going to get 100 times that back, would you do it? With a $1,000 investment in creating those cards, sticking on the labels, $100,000 was generated in revenue. Yes, it's 100 times return for something so simple, a lot of people don't think of, and again, it's a captive audience that's right in front of you. This is one of my favorite sections here is free shipping. You know, everyone wants free shipping. There's a ComScore survey from April of 2010. I'm sure we have an updated one now, which shows even increased percentages to what we'll show you here. But a ComScore survey from April 2010 that asked consumers to please select the 3 online cost-saving methods that are most important to you. Is it any surprise that over 70% responded free shipping? Drives me nuts, and as a merchant, it should drive you nuts too, because you need to be able to implement this type of an offer and this type of a promotion in a smart way. And you need to be able to do this using real math. I talk to so many merchants who have a free shipping offer on their website, and I say, okay, hey, Joe, how did you get to that $99 threshold? They turn around and say, it just felt good. It sounded good. That's not good enough. There's true math that goes into creating and defining what your free shipping threshold should be. In the upper right-hand corner, I do have a link here. This is a short link, http://bit.ly/the-shipping. Bear with me a second. I have to get one of my windows out of the way, shipping calculator. And if you go up there, you're going to download an Excel file, which is this tool. This tool will help you analyze which shipping promotion methodologies are right for you. And just need to get back to the screen here. When you plug in real metrics from your business, for example, operating margin. Operating margin is your profit versus the revenue at the end of the day. Whatever that operating margin is, your total revenue, your number of orders, your number of customers, average shipping cost per order, that's your cost, and the shipping revenue that you're generating per order over a fixed period of time, then you can assess the actual different offers that are created that you might be able to offer through your site, with target conversion rates implemented as well. What this will show you is which offer is probably going to best suit your business, where you're going to see the best incremental bottom line impact by implementing that offer in your site. In this instance, this is showing us that a $9.99 fixed rate shipping is the best. It's given us that green $158,021 at the bottom. So using this real methodology, you can determine yourself whether free shipping is the right strategy for you, but more importantly, what are the right benchmarks to go for? Here's the real reason for using this calculator. So many merchants pick a random number out of their hat and say, hey, I'm going to set it at $99. Meanwhile, their average order value may only be $45. Now, by setting it at $99, that free shipping threshold is way out of reach. If you have a $45 average order value, consider a $49 or $50 threshold to get free shipping. The goal of any type of free shipping promotion should be twofold. Number one, increase your average order value, and number two, increase your conversion to sale. If you can accomplish those two things while not negatively impacting your bottom line, that becomes the right threshold to offer on your site. Another one of the big ones, add to cart and navigational buttons. These are so important in a site and often overlooked. The call to actions consist of font styles, text, and these are the buttons, the add to cart, back, continue, whatever that may be. The graphics are become important, whatever the icon is, the visual cue that's being used, the size of that graphic, the location of that graphic. And the branding, the shape, the color, consistency. I always say have an add to cart button that pops off the page. I'll get into a little bit more later on here on kind of visual cues and eyeball tracking, heat map indexes that you yourself can go out and test and see what kind of heat maps are generated for your site. And what this tells you is where consumers' eyeballs can be expected to track over the course of your page. And when you look at this set of navigation buttons, you may be able to establish a difference between what you see on the screen right now and what exists in your store today. The days of the gray with black text, add to cart button, buy now button, those days are over. Consistently with my team, we see a significant uplift in conversion rates when those type of buttons are changed to true graphical buttons with both visual cues for the graphic as well as appropriate text on what that call to action is. And this is a very, very simple change. If you have room to expand on this today, or you think you do, then go for it. One of the most important aspects I said in the bottom here, color that pops off the page, is if your site in this instance is blue and you have blue nav, you have a blue header, you don't want to have a blue checkout button. Maybe you want a lime green checkout button that's going to pop off that page, because that's where you want people's eyeballs to go after they've looked at things like images and descriptions and price. That's the next action to take. So why not highlight that on the site? How many folks recognize this add to cart button? I would suspect quite a few on this call. This is from Amazon.com. And when we talk about shape, color, and consistency for brand, if you can recognize this as the add to cart button from Amazon.com, that's with the consumer reaction that you want for merchants on your site. So I want you to think about how you can have add to cart buttons or checkout buttons created to give that, again, visual cue and consistency of brand throughout the entire consumer experience on your site. One of the buttons on here is checkout. Checkout's a pretty committal term. I would actually rather see that button say proceed to checkout, as in going into a next step. Believe it or not, there's still a lot of people out there today that have a belief that as soon as they hit a button that says checkout, that some magic process is going to run on their computer and pull in all of their payment information. That we all know doesn't happen if we're in this business. However, remember, the consumer experience is all about psychology. And if you can soften that progress by saying proceed to checkout, again, I think you'll have a much better opportunity to capture that sale. I mentioned the increases in conversion rates. They're all over the map from what I've seen and experienced here in this team. 14%, I've seen 100%, I've seen 80%, I've seen 8% sometimes. But in general, on a good average, we can see a 14+% increase in conversion rates by modifying that add to cart button to a more consistent brand, a softer call to action with visual cues as well. This is what a merchant said to me one time. Merchant turns around and we get a conversation of SEO. And the merchant said, you know what, SEO sucks. And in the back of my mind as I'm chatting with that merchant, I said, no, this sucks. This is a situation that sucks. But what I really turned around and said to the merchant was, why do you think SEO sucks? And this was their response. It's too hard. So if you think about the basis of search engine optimization, getting listed in free organic search, the basis of that is content. If you really want to learn about this, go ahead and buy this book from Rob Snell, Starting Yahoo Business for Dummies. There is a ton of information. Come to a merchant summit, listen to Rob speak. You will walk away with a whole book of notes, things that you can take into your site. But you know what? We're coming out of the holidays. The holidays weren't far behind us. And I bet everybody was busy during that period. The holidays, from a unique content perspective, it's the gift that keeps on giving. How? How is this at all related? Do your customers, during the holidays or any other time, call you? Do they email you? Do they return items to you and tell you why? Do they ask any questions during those calls or the emails? Do you respond? Assuming you answer the questions, assuming you respond to those emails with content, then you have unique content being created every single day. And this is something that so many merchants miss out on, capturing that content. And if you can start doing that and take 15 minutes a day to record, you see that little digital recorder on the right-hand side, I carry one of those quite frequently, especially at trade shows and so forth, to capture ideas. But if you can take that and spend 15 minutes a day turning those customer service inquiries into unique content for the site, you're going to accomplish two things. One, you're going to have unique content on your site that nobody else has. I'm not talking about manufacturer descriptions because that gives you zero benefit over the other person that is selling online with manufacturer descriptions. But unique content that's generated by your customers. And two, it's going to reduce the number of customer inquiries that come in. If one person has that question, more than likely there's 10 others that have the same. They're just not calling. They're going off to another site. And that other site may provide the answer that they're looking for. Or they're going to keep searching until they find a site that does. So by reducing your call volume and generating unique SEO content on your own site as a result of those inquiries, you have a huge benefit in unique content and ultimately search engine optimization. Maybe just a second here. Issue clicking through. There we go. Let's take a look here and look at some critical design elements. Again, I'm using GreekGear.com as an example of this. GreekGear.com sells Greek gear. They sell for frats and fraternities and sororities. That's what they sell. When a consumer shows up at this site, there's really two decisions, or one decision that they have to make. Are they on that site for sorority gear, or are they on that site for fraternity gear? In this instance, you see very clearly your eyeballs go to make that selection right off the bat. So they do a great job here of merchandising and guiding that consumer to the decision on their homepage. But more importantly, when we tear apart the header here, there's a lot of good information and there are a lot of really smart things that Greek Gear is doing. First, as a consumer, I'm asking questions when I'm on a site. Who are you? We're GreekGear.com, your Greek superstore, featuring a huge selection of Greek apparel and gifts. How do I reach you? You can call us toll-free. There's the phone number, and it's also 866 Greek Gear. Now, this is a pet peeve of mine as well. For those folks using phone numbers that contain letters, you need to translate those. Pick up your BlackBerry right now and try to dial 866 Greek Gear. The letters aren't on the numbers. It doesn't work like that anymore. You need to provide a translated phone number. There's nothing more frustrating, and I do this here in Boston in the early days of a new program that they launched with a BlackBerry app that allowed you to pay for your parking at MBTA train stops. They put up these signs that says, hey, if you need help, call 1-800-MBTA, and I couldn't call. And I ended up getting a $5 fine at the train stop because I couldn't pay my bill over the phone and I didn't have the ones. But there was nothing more frustrating than trying to call that number, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I think we've all probably done this recently, trying to picture the keypad in your head and then dial the wrong number in your BlackBerry. Don't allow that level of frustration to occur with your consumers. Make sure that that number is translated, as Greek Gear has done here. The next, when can I reach you? Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. and on. Why should I shop here? We have a huge selection of Greek apparel and gifts. That's the value that we're providing to our consumers. I need help. Where do I go? Look at all the options. Facebook, Twitter, About Us, customer service, track my order. Think about what consumers are looking for when they need help. Do they need sizing information? Put that at the top of that page and try to answer the most frequently asked questions through navigation elements at the top of a page. Where's my cart? Again, another pet peeve. There's a reason everybody puts it at the top right, and it's not peer pressure or anything else. It's because that's where consumers have gotten used to looking to go look at the cart. And in this case, there's a floating cart in use and showing the number of items and the dollar that's already there, with a means to view the cart, but also proceed to checkout. So very important, in my opinion, to keep that at the top right. So right in front of you, 6 great elements, and I think are critical design elements to include across your headers. And I think Greek Gear does a great job of this in the headers. Another thing that Greek Gear does a really good job at is getting personal. Getting personal, small business sells. That is a reality, especially in this type of an economy. The type of information provided here shows a lot of information about the owner, why it was founded, what the experience is. But look down this list. They have a mission. They tell their story about the business. Clearly identifies the owner. Gives the owner's contact information on the right side. Shows the faces, the people. There's nobody hiding behind the internet here. They are getting personal, saying this is who we are. We're here to help you. We're packing your boxes. We're marketing the site. We're responsible for the business. The address, the phone number, associated companies, and again, reiterating the fact that there is no hiding behind the internet here. Small business sells. Another example of this from good friends at Gundog Supply. Steve Snell puts his mug right up there in the left-hand corner. Pictures of him out there with the dogs, sleeping with the dog on his recliner, the dogs themselves. I mean, this is where getting personal with your consumers, getting personal with your shoppers is really, really important. There's a level of trust, and we don't have the benefit of being the Best Buys of the world, the Amazons, or anything else as a small business doing e-commerce online. You need to establish that trust by conveying that you are human. All too often, I see merchants who are trying to hide behind the internet, and they make themselves look bigger than they are, and they end up running into trouble because there's a level of trust that folks are not engaged with their site. I wonder what's happening here, Shauna. There's something going on. I think we have a Twitter winner. I don't know quite how you're handling
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I had to find my unmute button because I try to unmute myself because I am like typing madly over here and I'm like going insane. But actually, as soon as you said that, I looked over to my Twitter and I saw immediately Firestarter SM, who is doing an amazing job right now. Just Twitter. By the way, we have so many that are Twittering. Your name is going to be like big. Your name is like out there on Twitter right now like mad. Let me tell you, Mr. Ober. So Firestarter SM, what does she want?
Well, we have one of two things: either 6 months of free rent on a new Yahoo Merchant Solutions standard account, or if you're already a customer, a $99 credit to an existing account. So happy to hook that up afterwards, but pretty good. Happy to have the conversation and feel free to give her my direct contact information, Shauna.
Absolutely. So Firestarter SM, go to twitter-winner.com and there's a claim your prize button right there. Fill in that information and we'll get you in touch with Mr. Ober. So I'll let you continue taking on. Congratulations. And by the way, you all are doing an awesome job. Awesome job. I can't wait for Mike to read all of your tweets. Okay, I'll mute myself again.
All right, let's keep it going here. So I wanted to share here some of the favorite tools that I have that are out there that, easy to implement, easy to use, and I think that you'll find some benefit here as well. First one being Add This. Very simple. What this is a social sharing widget, for example, that you can just copy code that gets generated here on Add This onto your site, immediately have the appropriate share buttons and so forth on your site. They also have an analytics option here as well, but again, very, very useful for folks and very simple to use and implement. So addthis.com. I mentioned earlier the concept of heat maps, prediction and analysis tools, for websites, and this is heat maps and eyeball tracking. If you were to do a true eyeball tracking study, thousands and thousands of dollars. It's out of our reach. Bottom line, it's out of our reach as small business merchants. However, AttentionWizard.com has some incredibly competitive plans, very well priced and very simple to use. And this is the output. If we take a look at Blair Candy, this is without the heat map. And what I want you to do is think about where your eyeballs are going on this site, where they're initially attracted to, where else they're looking and focusing on. Because with 75% accuracy, AttentionWizard.com decides that, hey, this is what that pattern probably will look like on this site. The value of this information to you is you can turn around and make sure that the important aspects of the site, the call to actions, for example, are getting the appropriate attention, and then modify designs and modify product placements and so forth according to what you see here in an output. And I'm wondering how many folks have actually, eyeballs actually followed that type of a pattern on this site. Fairly close, again, with a 75% accuracy, they do make this predictive pattern at AttentionWizard.com. So I think it's a very, very good example of opportunity for folks to use. And just some others. Compete.com, these will give you an example of your traffic versus other merchants, other websites, other competitive sites. SpyFu give you insight into what your competitors are doing in terms of PPC advertising, where they're seeing success, the type of traffic and so forth. Alexa, another one that gives you more traffic definitions. And Google Browser Size Labs, this browsersize.googlelabs.com, will show you what your site looks like within frameworks of multiple browser sizes. Very simple to use. Just go up there, plug in your domain name, and you'll see within certain browser sizes what's visible in your site and what isn't. And it shows you the percentage of users using those browsers today. So really important to make sure that the visual elements that you're trying to key in on in that consumer experience on your site are being leveraged. And finally, Quantcast. What Quantcast does is gives you a very high-level view of the demographics visiting your site. If you are a cyber weld, very unlikely that you're going to use pink on your site because the demographic being majority male, 35 to 50, for example. Quantcast will give you that information, and I think Mihaela Popa will be speaking a little bit about demographics in the next section with Yahoo Web Analytics, but Yahoo Web Analytics is a enterprise analytics tool which we include in our platform that gives you even more detailed information on the demographics visiting your site. The decisions that you can make in terms of visual cues on the site, wording that's used, the color schemes are absolutely critical to have this information. So key takeaways. Let me leave you with just these bullets. I've thrown a lot of information at folks, and again, I hope that everybody's been able to take away at least one item. Ask if your baby's ugly. The website navigability and overall design should be appealing, inspire trust to the consumer. Leverage your outgoing boxes and packages with special offers. Very easy to create those campaigns to captive audience, put something in the box, drive them to come back and purchase from you. Make sure you're doing the math behind free shipping offers. Don't just pick a number because it feels good. Make sure it makes sense for your business. I've seen so many merchants that have implemented promotions that are actually costing them money. They're paying people to come and buy, and they're paying even more for those boxes to be shipped out because the conversion rate increased, but they're shipping out so many extra boxes that the manpower to do that costs more than the additional revenue that's being gained. There's real math behind free shipping offers. Take a look at the tool that I provided earlier and check that out. Enhance or test your key navigational buttons and call to actions. Probably one of the easiest things to do here, very important, and direct impact in conversion rates. More importantly here, SEO is hard work. Process the content that your customers are giving you. That little digital recorder, you can plug it into your laptop these days with something like Dragon Naturally Speaking, have it translate, clean up the content, put the content on your site. But emails, phone calls, you're all generating unique content in those responses. Small business sells. Test, test, and test again. And what I mean by that, again, things like add to cart buttons, product placements, wording on your site, the coupon boxes, you name it. There's so many different opportunities, but test those. And if you feel like you've maximized anything that I've spoken about here today and that you really can't learn anything from this, you still can. It's A/B testing, and that's what I mean by test, test, test again. Finally, pay attention to the details. And with that, I'm going to leave you with this one last question. When is the last time that you yourself made a purchase from your own website as a consumer? Think about that, and I'm sure that you can actually gain some information out of the consumer experience that you're asking your customers to go through on your own site. I think everybody should be able to do that themselves. Thank you very, very much. Again, Shauna, I really appreciate the opportunity here. And I think we have some questions.
Yeah, we definitely have some questions, and I just want to say thank you so much for making my hands hurt. I was typing the whole time. This might have to, like, you need to write a book. You really do, because you have so much knowledge. Write about. Okay, well, we don't want to write about that stuff, okay? Gosh. All right, so let's get in with some questions here. We do have some really great questions. All right. Wade wanted to know, what are good colors to use on a website design and colors that you definitely want to avoid?
Great question. I sort of alluded to that here a few minutes ago, and I think I can't sit here and say that one particular color is good. You know, there's a lot of conversations out there around branding, and you think about red, Coca-Cola, some of the others that use red in branding. It doesn't necessarily pertain to small businesses. It's really important to know the demographic that you're going after. I'll give you an example here, and it's not necessarily, well, actually it is necessarily due to color, but there was a merchant in the apparel business who we're sitting there chatting one day, and they said, you know, I'm really having a hard time with conversion rate. It's just not where it should be. And we looked at the site and said, okay, well, who do you think your demographic is? And they said, well, I mean, it's 25 to 35-year-old women, no doubt, or 18 to 35, no doubt. And as we looked into the demographics of who was visiting their site, guess what? It wasn't 18 to 35-year-old women. It was 35 to 50-year-old men. And that's really important to know who the demographic is, because you're not going to use pink on a site, maybe selling auto parts, appealing to men. So once you know who that demographic is, it's really about appealing to the visual cues of those consumers in that demographic set. I wish I could give you a more straightforward answer, but that's really the reality. You have to start with knowing who the demographic is.
Absolutely. But I will give you one key that a lot of people really do forget about. And I know that this is on the top of my mind because of my dad. But if you're selling to men, find somebody who's colorblind and make sure that they can read your site. Because a lot of times these designers, they'll put these two colors, they'll put like this orange and then white on top of that orange because they think that's going to appeal to men, and maybe it will with other colors, but then you get a colorblind man who goes, what text? What do you mean there's text there? And they don't even think about that. And I think about it because that's my dad. You know, Mama has to help him with getting dressed or buy him all the blue clothes. So that's on the top of our, mind here. And that's something we think about quite a bit. So if you are selling to men, think about that. Find yourself a colorblind man. Daddy comes in here and works at the office too. So if you need to, just call and ask for Dad and say, can you look at my website? There you go. You got a free colorblind test.
But Shauna, I mean, women can be colorblind too, right?
Well, yes, they could, but more often or not, more men are more. Yeah, you know what I mean. Great. Now I'm sexist. I'm sexist.
And a good point. And a good point.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Barbara wants to know, how do you go about adding the add this info? Great question.
Very straightforward, actually. When you go to the Add This site, they have the opportunity, or you have the opportunity, to just select those radio buttons. And what Add This will do is output the code that you need to implement onto your site. How you implement that code in your site depends on how the site is built. Again, not a straightforward answer, but sometimes it could be as easy as adding it just to the footer field, but other times, if it's more complex, it may need to be added into a template somewhere. Happy to get an email from you if you'd like, and try to take a look myself. But it's definitely not as straightforward an answer. It's easy to generate the code, easy to paste in the code. You just need to know where to put it.
Yeah, and it's incredibly easy. And if we have people are having a difficult time, just let me know and I'll create a video. I mean, it won't be that hard at all. I'll put it down on one of my tasks to do at Remember the Milk. And if you guys don't remember or didn't get the info last night for rememberthemilk.com, we are using Remember the Milk to put down tasks of things that we need to do for all the different things that we're learning here at the New Life event. That way we can make sure that we get done. And thanks to Ober, I think I've got about 20 more tasks to do. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate that.
Don't tell my wife about that. I'm still sticking with the honey-do list on the magnet in the fridge. So I don't need the virtual one.
Yeah, you do. It connects to your iPad. It connects to your phone. It connects to your computer. She can follow you everywhere. Okay, so what's your suggestion on mobile enablement?
Oh, boy. I was going to include a slide on that. Mike on mobile. Here we go. So mobile today, if you are a big brand merchant, absolutely critical. I haven't seen much of really, well, I haven't seen many studies at all that talks about purchases, people buying on mobile devices yet out of the holidays. Majority of the studies that you see are how many people were hanging out at Best Buy, snapping pictures of the barcodes, doing searches. A report I just saw yesterday, for example, was talking about, I think it was up at eMarketer.com. I think the link is still posted. But that's talking all about people doing research and everything else. You can't have mobile, in my opinion, without a UPC code. The UPC code drives barcode search and everything else. There are very few small business merchants today that have a UPC code, never mind a whole bunch of other really important fields in data feeds. So right now, mobile, not for the small business merchant. Now, that said, and let me clarify that, not for the small business, non-brand name merchant. That said, it depends on who your demographic is. And a perfect example of this is going back to the company I used earlier, CyberWeld. CyberWeld is people out in the field. They're talking about new tools. They need to replace a tool. They're in the field. They're mobile already. CyberWeld has done a great job with mobile and working with our partner Unbound Commerce. Because it fits their demographic. And more importantly, they have gone the extra step to make sure that some of the data elements that are critical for the mobile apps are included in their product feeds and their catalog. It's not you build it, they will come. Now, on one hand, there's the argument out there that, well, Mike, you also advocating, and Matt Ledford had said this to me one day, also advocating that people don't optimize for browsers. No, I'm not advocating that at all. But right now, in the sites that I've seen, the traffic coming from mobile platforms, and when I say mobile, by the way, I'm talking about small format. I'm not talking about the iPads or so forth. Small format mobile, I'm seeing 1.5 to 2% of total traffic coming there. When you look at your conversion rate of maybe 2%, that's a really small amount of traffic for businesses in this segment that we're talking about. So, talk to me again in February, March 2012. My thoughts are when that mobile traffic, small format, comes to sites at the rate of 8 to 10%, then it's time to talk.
Yeah, and there is a way that you can actually go into your Google Analytics and see how much of your traffic is coming in via mobile. And that's something that you need to know and you need to understand, because you might have an audience that is definitely coming in higher on mobile than, let's say, somebody else that barely anything's coming in from mobile. So I think Kat's right. It depends.
Yep, it really does.
She loves that. She loves that. So we do have a question about Yahoo Summit, and then we'll go ahead and take a break. But where's Y Summit going to be this year?
We are going to be, as of right now, we're going to be in Santa Clara. I believe it's going to be the second week of August. Look for some announcements coming soon. Again, pay attention to ystoreblog.com. I believe it'll be out in Santa Clara. Should be another great event.
Yeah, absolutely. We love that, right? Absolutely love that. All right, well, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Mike. A lot of really great information. You're going to have to get on Twitter and, well, yeah, there's so many new, you're going to have so many more new people that love you. I told them in the beginning that they would.
That's great. Well, thank you very, very much for having us, and hopefully people found this beneficial, and happy to kick off what's going to be a heck of a weekend for everyone. So
Absolutely.
thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right.